Morgan Harrington disappeared on Saturday, October 17, 2009. When a person disappears without a trace, often the most critical information is hidden in their actions and words from the days before they vanished. Morgan Harrington's last known whereabouts may hold the clues to what happened to her. A beautiful 20-year-old Virginia Tech co-ed is looking forward to an evening of fun at a Metallica concert.
I mean, Morgan was kind of like champagne. Morgan was bubbly and cause for celebration.
At the concert, Morgan leaves her seat and doesn't return.
Even though she was warned that if she left, she would not be allowed to re-enter, for some unexplained reason, Morgan walked out the front doors.
Strangers report seeing her later that night.
It's 3:45 in the morning, and I was like, why is she out here with a mini skirt on, out here, legs out, and she's with these three guys?
But her friends and family never see her again.
It's a strange place and time to be where your best case scenario is you're hoping your daughter is held against her will.
The police struggle to find viable leads in the case.
We had a girl we knew was missing, we had a purse, we had a cell phone, and that's it. I remember looking at the investigators and saying, we have a problem.
It's Saturday, October 17th, 2009. 20-year-old Virginia Tech junior Morgan Harrington is at her parents' house in Roanoke, Virginia, getting ready for a night out with friends.
Morgan liked getting ready. I think girls do. The part of the fun is the anticipation of going out. So we chose an outfit together that Morgan thought was danceable, but looked nice, and chose her jewelry.
Morgan has been living independently for 3 years now. She shares an apartment near campus with a friend. But she frequently drops by her parents' house, just 45 minutes away.
Morgan came home probably, I would say, twice a week, sometimes just for a couple hours.
So it seemed like it was a lot easier for Morgan to throw her laundry in the car and come here and push it in the door and say, Mama, here it is, and flop down and watch TV with Dan, and miraculously end up having had dinner and spent some time with her papa and have clean laundry all at the same time.
Tonight, she is going to a much-anticipated Metallica concert. A huge music fan, Morgan got the ticket as a gift from her father. For Morgan, this concert is the event of the year.
As soon as she heard that they were coming, she made sure that when tickets came available online, that Dan was there and bought tickets. And those tickets were magneted to our refrigerator for months, waiting for the day to come.
Morgan settles on a black vintage t-shirt with the band Pantera logo on it. A black miniskirt, black tights, and black boots. She completes her look with some family heirloom jewelry and a black purse that she can wear as a backpack.
She looked lovely, but Morgan could wear a burlap sack and look lovely.
Morgan has a very close relationship with her parents, Dan and Jill.
It's a wonderful time in the life of a parent when you finally have, it's not a peer-level relationship, but an adult relationship with your children. And Morgan had gotten there.
Dan and Jill enjoyed watching the youngest of their two children blossom from a spirited little girl into a beautiful and mature young woman.
Morgan was a lot of fun. I mean, Morgan was kind of like champagne. Morgan was bubbly and cause for celebration.
A blonde-haired, blue-eyed stunner, Morgan Dana Harrington has the bright personality to match her looks.
Morgan is this really sweet, beautiful girl. I always said that she was as beautiful inside as she was on the outside.
Now in her third year of college, Morgan is planning on becoming a teacher when she graduates. Although she prides herself on her independence, Morgan still sometimes struggles with her finances. She relies on her father to help her. In fact, on Sunday after the concert, she plans on coming back to her parents' house just for that reason.
The plan had been for Morgan to come back on Sunday, and I was going to help her with math and also help her balance her checkbook, which was not one of her favorite things to do.
By noon that Saturday, Morgan is out the door. The plan is to pick up her roommate Amy and 2 other friends before heading to the concert at the John Paul Jones Arena at the University of Virginia in Charlottesville.
I believe what they were planning to do was to spend the night after the concert in Harrisonburg because it's closer, and then she was coming back.
Later that afternoon, Morgan calls her father on his cell phone to check in. She's picked up Amy, and the 2 have just arrived at James Madison University, where they are meeting the rest of the crew.
The last time I spoke with Morgan was around 2 or 2:30 when she called me from James Madison to let me know she had arrived safely.
At 7 p.m., the John Paul Jones Arena at the University of Virginia is bustling with Metallica fans. Morgan and her 3 friends take their seats as the opening band warms up the crowd. At about 8:15 p.m., Morgan tells her friends she is going to the restroom. When she is not back half an hour later, Morgan's friend Sarah calls her cell phone to find out where she is. Morgan tells her she ended up outside the arena and can't get back in. The venue has a strict no re-entry policy. Since Sarah has Morgan's car key, Morgan tells her she'll find a ride home and hangs up the phone. Sunday, October 18th. Dan Harrington is expecting his daughter home so they can balance her checkbook. Morgan's mother, Jill, is at church, as she always is on Sundays, and Dan is enjoying a quiet morning at home.
So I was doing my usual thing, and I wasn't concerned because I thought she would be home about noon.
At 11 a.m., Dan gets a phone call that leaves him puzzled, but not yet alarmed.
I had received a call about maybe 11 o'clock from the University of Virginia police who told me that someone had turned in a purse that was found, and it was Morgan's, and with her ID in the purse. And I thought that was strange, but then I thought, well, you know, maybe getting in the car, Morgan dropped her purse, and boy, she was really going to be angry.
I can remember Dan turning to me and saying, gosh, you won't believe it. University of Virginia has called and someone has found Morgan's purse. But I don't think he realized the importance and the impact of it. But I could just feel my face go white because I knew something bad had happened. If someone found Morgan's purse in a parking lot, my question immediately was, where is Morgan?
Coming up, troubling reports of Morgan's appearance outside of the concert baffle and unnerve her parents.
The last place that Morgan Harrington was seen around 9:30 would have been the Copley Street Bridge, trying to catch a ride, hitchhiking.
"20-year-old Morgan Harrington fails to show up at her parents' house the morning after a rock concert at the University of Virginia in Charlottesville. Morgan's father, Dan, gets a call from the UVA police, alerting him about Morgan's lost purse.
It's one of those moments where you know your world is getting ready to change. We immediately started to get on the phone and try and locate Morgan's friends and find Morgan.
When we called them, they told us that they had not seen Morgan since the middle of the concert, and told us that Morgan had left her seat, ultimately left the arena. I called the police at the University of Virginia and told them that Morgan was missing.
The University of Virginia police take the Harringtons' concerns very seriously. The officers conduct a search of the immediate area surrounding the John Paul Jones Arena. Now, in the overflow parking lot near the athletic fields, they find more telling evidence. Morgan's cell phone, with its battery missing.
The additional items were found on Sunday when the detective went over to the area where the purse was found. It only confirmed again my concern that something horrible had happened to Morgan.
To talk to Virginia State Police, who are now taking over the investigation.
Well, initially, the investigation was focused on a missing person, but there was no indication that there was any foul play in those first few days after she was reported missing. According to her friends, they indicated that it was not unusual for her to, go off on her own, to spend some time with another friend and to leave and then show back up the next day.
The investigators' first task is to retrace Morgan's steps on the night of her disappearance. They interview Morgan's 3 friends. According to them, Morgan had not left her seat prepared to leave the concert that night.
She did not have her keys when she became separated from her friends to go to the bathroom. Nor was there a planned rendezvous point after the concert was over.
Morgan received a cell phone call from her friend Sarah at 8:48 p.m. She told Sarah that she was unable to re-enter the arena and she was looking for a way to get back in. And finally, Morgan just told her that she was going to find her, basically she was going to find a ride. And that was the last phone contact that anybody had with Morgan.
They even looked for her after the concert. They hung around the venue, went down to a local restaurant and tried to find her, and after many hours in the morning, they went back to Harrisonburg, Virginia, where they originated.
In a crowded public space like the John Paul Jones Arena, it's nearly impossible to avoid surveillance cameras. Investigators quickly locate video from Saturday night.
There are numerous businesses in that area, service stations, grocery stores, banks. We were able to obtain all of the video footage, surveillance video footage in that area.
Frame by frame, the investigators examine hundreds of hours of grainy surveillance footage collected from dozens of businesses.
None of the video footage that we reviewed revealed any evidence of what happened to Morgan. Nothing.
I felt certain we would have found at least a 2 or 3 second shot of Morgan Harrington outside the venue, but that just did not happen. And I can't explain it. I can only tell you that of all the video we have, there's absolutely nothing relevant to Morgan that we're aware of.
Next, police turn to the media, trying to find witnesses who might have spotted Morgan that night.
Anyone who may have seen Morgan or a young lady matching this description after October 17th, which was Saturday night, should report it to the police.
The purpose of the press conference was to try to make up time that had been lost, since she had been missing for many, many hours prior to us getting there. So we were going to flood the local media with information about Morgan Harrington as we knew it at the time.
She has long blonde hair and blue eyes. She was wearing a black t-shirt, black knee-high boots, black tights, and a black miniskirt.
I would estimate probably we interviewed over 100 people in the first 3 or 4 days of the investigation.
Ultimately, here's what we had to begin with. We had a girl we knew was missing. We had a purse. We had a cell phone. And that's it. And that's not a whole lot to work with.
While the detectives conduct witness interviews, multiple agencies comb the area around the John Paul Jones Arena for any physical evidence.
We had a tremendous amount of resources here with troopers, with canines, with helicopters. And that went on for about 2.5 days.
and we were unable to locate any other items of evidence in that area.
It's a strange place and time to be where your best case scenario is you're hoping your daughter is held against her will. But that's where we were.
By now, Morgan has been missing for more than 48 hours. Jill and Dan Harrington try to keep their hope alive.
I'd like to say if Morgan is out there and hears us, please come home. It was our daughter, and we wanted to make an appeal to Morgan or to the person who took Morgan to please let her go free. We realized the only thing that we could do to help Morgan was to be as public as possible.
And to do that, we had to be accessible to anyone who came calling. So we didn't turn down anybody.
And now to the search for 20-year-old Virginia Tech student Morgan Harrington. Good morning to both of you, and thank you for joining us. Obviously, this is a very difficult time for your family.
Thank you for having us.
The community and a nation rallies behind the Harrington family. Within 2 days, $100,000 is raised for information leading to Morgan's return. The band Metallica offers up additional reward money.
James Hetfield, who is with Metallica, called me and said that he was so sorry for Morgan's situation, and he offered a reward of $50,000.
Metallica also posts a message to their fans on the band's webpage, asking for any video taken at the concert that might help the investigation. As witness after witness comes forward online and through the police tip line, a bizarre picture of Morgan's movements outside the arena begins to emerge. At about 8:50 p.m., Morgan is spotted.
I had some witnesses who were outside about to enter the arena and who encountered Morgan out there, and they said that she seemed to be a little incapacitated in some way.
Up until now, there has been no information about Morgan's behavior. But soon, multiple eyewitnesses begin giving matching accounts. They say Morgan was acting erratically outside the arena. Some reports suggest she may have sustained an injury on her chin. Though Morgan's friends admit she'd been drinking alcohol, they say she was not intoxicated.
But we don't know what happened from the time she left that seat in section 312 until the time she wound up outside. So we don't know if she was slipped a drug. We know that she probably fell. Based on the abrasion, it wouldn't have appeared to have been a serious head wound, but we don't know that. And then certainly we know outside the venue she was fumbling through her purse, had dropped her purse and spilled its contents, and that would be inconsistent with someone who had their wits about them.
The witnesses who encountered Morgan outside the arena told us that they offered Morgan assistance, asked her if she needed help or did she need a ticket or to get in, and she said no, she had a ticket, but she refused any kind of assistance that anybody offered her.
After compiling accounts from over 100 independent eyewitnesses, the investigators have a clearer picture of Morgan's movements outside the John Paul Jones Arena. It leads them to the Copley Road Bridge over the railroad tracks to the west of the arena.
The last place that Morgan Harrington was seen around 9:30 would have been the Copley Street Bridge, trying to catch a ride, hitchhiking. Not thinking clearly, you're going to do things you normally wouldn't do. So while it wouldn't be normal for Morgan Harrington to hitchhike on that particular night, we believe she was hitchhiking out of desperation.
Coming up, another more disturbing sighting of Morgan comes to light.
And I was like, why is she out here with a mini skirt on, out here, her legs out, and she's with these three guys?
Virginia Tech junior Morgan Harrington is missing, after leaving a rock concert at the University of Virginia in Charlottesville. Witness accounts last place her on the Copley Road Bridge, apparently hitchhiking at 9:30 p.m. that evening. The police continue searching the area around the University of Virginia campus.
We searched the entire tunnel system under the University of Virginia. We ran more dogs just to see, did we miss something? And we actually started considering potential dump sites, body sites, and we actually did some covert searches of those sites.
But search after search, the investigators come up empty. As days and weeks go by, the hope of finding Morgan or solving her disappearance begins to grow dim.
At some point, your search has to be reasonable, and you have to consider your resources and what other obligations do you have to other investigations. We did not stop our searches until we were confident that we had reasonably searched the areas that need to be searched and beyond.
By December 16th, 8 weeks after Morgan vanished, investigators stopped searching.
It's frustrating and demoralizing to feel that people would quit on Morgan.
A reporter that focuses on crime, and in particular crimes against women. It was pretty quickly apparent within a couple of days that this was going to be a really high-profile case.
Reporter Courtney Stewart begins digging through the hundreds of witness accounts online and plugging into the town gossip to see if she can unearth any new information in the case.
I attended an orientation session for volunteers who were going to participate in one of the searches, and a woman sitting sort of towards the back stood up and said, "Why has nobody returned my call? I have been trying to give you my tip. I saw her."
Norma Parson told Stewart she was delivering newspapers around the University of Virginia grounds early that Sunday morning. Around 3:45 a.m., roughly 6 hours after the Copley Road Bridge sighting, she was making a delivery at the residences around the UVA campus.
When I got to the opening to the west lawn, she was just standing there, and she was tall, blonde. Her hair was stuck inside of her jacket. So I just stood there while they walked slowly by me. I just noticed she had all black on. She had black jacket, black skirt, no tights, knee-high boots, and the 3 white young males walking with her. I felt like it's 3:45 in the morning, and I was like, why is she out here with a mini skirt on, out here, legs out, and she's with these 3 guys? So when she walked up the steps on my side of the pavilion, I looked her dead in the face.
The next morning, Parsons says she saw Morgan Harrington's photo on the front page of the local newspaper.
I looked at the picture and light bulbs just went on in my head. I said, yeah, I saw that young lady. I saw Morgan Harrington on the west lawn.
Parson called the tip line with her story, but she says the police didn't take her seriously.
I think that they did a very unprofessional job in the way that they handled my tip.
The investigators say they vetted Parsons' tip very carefully.
The lawn sighting has been investigated more than once by a couple of our investigators who've gone back at different times. We even used bloodhounds to go over there and try to see if whether or not the scent for Morgan was there. So we haven't discarded that information. We just have not. That could come to play later on as more information is unraveled. As it is right now, we cannot corroborate that sighting.
But reporter Courtney Stewart checks out the story anyway.
Well, I followed it up by going to the room where she said she had seen this girl and these 3 boys coming out. And the student who was there said it's not possible, and he suggested that in fact there was a wedding reception that was being held in one of the larger, those pavilions, larger houses next door, and he thought that probably what she had seen was guests who were attending this reception leaving that area.
Norma Parson stands by her story.
I'm good at faces, and I may not know your name, but if I haven't seen you in 5 years, I will remember your face. When I saw her in that paper, I knew that was her.
Norma Parsons' story has an eerie similarity to another eyewitness account unearthed by Stewart.
A woman who was arriving from Richmond to attend the Metallica show said as she arrived, and she was coming a little late, she said a group of 4 young men accompanied by 1 young blonde woman wearing black boots and sort of an outfit that matched the description of what Morgan had been wearing, were crossed in front of her car, and she thought that the girl looked wobbly, and she wondered why they would be walking away from the arena when Metallica was about to come on.
With no physical evidence or surveillance video to support either account, it's impossible for police to know whether they are accurate.
Eyewitness accounts in a criminal investigation are very important, but eyewitness information generally always has to be corroborated and confirmed in some way.
With lead after lead falling through, the investigation falters. Then, on November 11th, 2009, the police get a call that may steer them towards some solid physical evidence in the case. The shirt's discovery be the lucky break the police need to crack this case. Next, a disturbing find on a secluded farm takes the case in a new direction. November 11th, 2009. Virginia State Police finally get a piece of physical evidence that may bring them closer to solving the Morgan Harrington case. What appears to be Morgan's t-shirt is recovered 2 miles from the John Paul Jones Arena at the University of Virginia. The 20-year-old Virginia Tech student was last seen on October 17th outside the Metallica concert at the arena.
It was a student that was walking along over in near an apartment complex off Grady Avenue, and the shirt was just exposed to the viewing. We didn't believe it had been there before. We'd searched there before. We don't know the circumstances of how it got placed there or how it was found there, but in fact, it was there.
At this point, the Pantera t-shirt is the only new piece of evidence the investigators have to work with.
The shirt was sent to our forensic laboratory in Richmond, and they were able to recover some human hairs from the shirt, and utilizing those hairs and hairs that were obtained from some of Morgan's belongings and from her mother, we're able to determine that through mitochondrial DNA testing that was in fact Morgan's shirt.
But this potentially promising lead turns out to be just another dead end. No other clues are found in the area.
We interviewed numerous individuals who lived in an area and who walked through that area or passed through that area. Other than the shirt itself, we did not recover any other evidence in that immediate vicinity of where the
Slow to a standstill until January 26, 2010, when have investigators found Morgan's remains, or do they belong to someone else? January 26, 2010, police investigating the disappearance of Virginia Tech student Morgan Harrington converge on Anchorage Farm in Albemarle County, Virginia, where skeletal human remains were found by the farm's owner, David Bass.
I was checking the fences and I thought I saw a dead deer, and I stopped, and it was a human skull, and that's when I called 911.
20-year-old Morgan Harrington has been missing.
The missing is the worst thing.
Morgan, the Harrington's youngest child, is dead. This missing persons case is now officially a homicide investigation. Because the investigation is ongoing, the police will not release her cause of death.
I cannot discuss the circumstances of her death as far as the cause. I can say that the medical examiner has determined that her manner of death is homicide.
To the investigators, the location of Morgan's body on the vast 700-plus acre farm may be the most telling clue to date.
The location is very remote. It's not easily accessed by a vehicle. It's a location that an individual would most certainly have to have prior knowledge of in order, to get there.
I mean, we're talking having to cross over creeks and ravines and fences, go through gates. They felt low risk. They felt, I can get in here without being seen. I know where I want to go. I know the terrain. I know what I have to cross, what obstacles I have to cross. I mean, all that's pretty telling.
Armed with these new assumptions, the investigators continue to work the case. But as time goes by, no significant new leads develop. Until July of 2010, when a cold hit from a criminal case database connects forensic evidence from the Harrington investigation to another case. A 2005 abduction and rape in Fairfax County, Virginia, a Washington, D.C. suburb 3 hours away. But unlike Morgan, the victim of the Fairfax attack survived and was able to take a close look at the assailant. September 24th, 2005. A young woman was walking home from a grocery store in Fairfax, Virginia at 10 p.m. when she was grabbed from behind and dragged to a nearby community pool. The perpetrator sexually assaulted the victim, but took off running when startled by a passerby. The victim fought back, and the police were able to obtain the assailant's DNA. The woman also provided a sketch artist with a description of her attacker. 5 years later, a DNA match links the same man to the disappearance and murder of Morgan Harrington, although the police will not disclose how the match was made. The investigation in both cases is still ongoing, and the police have not yet identified a suspect.
Forensically, there's a DNA connection that Morgan Harrington at some point during her time at Charlottesville prior to her death came into contact with a person who has already been in the unknown subject DNA database for Virginia.
Investigators believe the information will eventually help them solve the case, but they continue to urge the public to utilize the tip line.
There's still a monumental amount of work that has to be done in this investigation, and I feel confident that we will develop a suspect, and I feel confident that this case will solve someday. I'm absolutely certain of that.
Jill and Dan Harrington visited the site where Morgan's remains were found. That discovery has given them some peace, but they struggle to absorb the tragic loss of their daughter.
You have to move forward. I don't think you don't get over it. You don't have closure. You get beyond it.
My daughter's not going to graduate from college. She's not going to get married. She's not going to have children. She's not going to have a career. But the person that murdered my daughter is walking the streets and is doing all of those things. And I think the public needs to be aware of that there is someone out there that continues to walk the streets that has murdered and raped. We don't want another person to have to go through what our family has gone through. No one should have to go through what it's like to have a child murdered.
The Harringtons have dedicated themselves to keeping Morgan's memory alive.
We are able to make a positive impact in Morgan's name She has a scholarship at the Virginia Tech Carilion Medical School where she worked with her dad. We're building a school for her in Zambia, Africa. So Morgan's not going to be able to go to Africa and teach those kids and see those kids, but a lot of kids will be educated in her name, in her honor, in her building.
On February 5th, 2010, the family held a memorial for Morgan at the St. Andrew's Church in Roanoke. Despite a blinding snowstorm, over 500 people showed up to celebrate her life.
This was about 10 days after Morgan's body was found, but we just felt we needed, I guess, some closure. The weather was unbelievable. Yeah, horrible. I mean, we had 6 to 8 inches of snow and sleet. Yeah, I mean, who comes out? You know, but people came out. It was pretty amazing.
There's such joy in having recovered a body and reclaiming, you know, we have what is ours again.
On Saturday, April 9th, 2011. When a person disappears without a trace, often the most critical information is hidden in their actions and words from the days before they vanished. Amber Gerwick's last known whereabouts may hold the clues to what happened to her. Mother of 4, Amber Gerwick, vanishes suddenly from her Jackson, Michigan home.
My heart just went into my throat.
Clues found halfway across the country paint a frightening picture.
I saw the video and I just literally could not breathe.
Then, old wounds threatened to tear Amber's family apart.
I had been through this once before when my brother disappeared. With him, they found a body.
How could we as a family endure a disappearance again?
What happens next stuns even the most hardened cops.
Every now and then, no matter how many cases you've done, somebody will throw a curveball at you from left field.
It's a crisp spring morning in Jackson, Michigan, a small city in the Midwestern hub of the Rust Belt. Homemaker Diane Spice lives 5 miles north in the sleepy suburb of Blackman Township.
It was a normal, regular day, and the phone rang at early. It was like 10 minutes to 8.
The call is about Diane's niece, Amber.
It was Amber's boss telling me that she had not been to work for 2 days.
32-year-old Amber Gerwick works as an administrative assistant at a local consulting firm.
Amber worked for a company that contracted with Homeland Security. She enjoyed her job. She had just gotten a promotion, was really happy about that.
She was really excited. She was going from working in a cubicle to having an office of her own.
But it isn't just work that keeps Amber busy.
She was taking a medical administration course part-time at school, working full-time.
She was maintaining a 4.0 average while taking care of a family.
Amber has 4 children. She and her ex-husband share custody. Amber was at a good place in her life.
To Diane, her niece's sudden absence from work seems out of character.
For her not to show up for 2 days without calling in was very unusual. So I thought, well, maybe she's sick.
Amber has recently moved to a 1-bedroom apartment a few minutes from her Aunt Diane's home. Diane decides to check in on her. But she's greeted by nothing but a cold silence.
I knocked on the door pretty loudly, as loud as I could. I pounded on it for a few minutes, and I listened in to see if I could hear any sounds, but there was nothing.
Minutes later, Diane breaks the troubling news to Amber's mother, Jackie Seeger.
She asked if we had heard anything from Amber recently, and I said, well, we talked to her Saturday.
Jackie and her husband Dale speak with their daughter regularly.
Amber lives in Michigan and I live in Georgia, and that's a long ways away. So in order to stay in touch, Amber and I talked to one another on the phone.
On April 9th, 2 days earlier, Amber was her usual talkative self.
She said that the kids were with their father that weekend and that she was going to study for the day.
But Amber never mentioned plans to miss work. Immediately concerned, Jackie tries her daughter's cell phone.
There was no answer whatsoever, just would go to her voicemail.
Well, we decided at that point there needed to be a missing persons report filed.
Diane files a report with the Blackman Township Department of Public Safety.
Well, the next step was, of course, going to her apartment and searching.
We felt it was important to check and make sure that she wasn't physically injured and laying in the apartment or worse.
Within the hour, patrol officers arrive at Amber's apartment. But Amber is nowhere to be found.
The police had crime scene investigative people there searching the apartment. They had called the detectives at that point.
Leading the investigation is veteran detective Robert Schrock.
As we entered, we made contact with the patrol officers that were on scene.
At first glance, nothing appears out of the ordinary.
There was no sign of like a struggle or altercation. The apartment wasn't in any type of disarray. There was food in the fridge. She also didn't appear to have packed any clothes. All indicators that she probably wasn't going somewhere for long.
But then, one item suddenly catches his attention.
Amber's purse was sitting by the door. Missing from the purse was her wallet, keys to the vehicle, and the vehicle was not at the apartment.
The evidence found in the apartment leads police to believe that Amber had left willingly. Until Detective Schrock reaches the bedroom at the end of the hall.
As I walked into the bedroom, I located a cell phone sitting on the bed. And the cell phone was still on.
A laptop and various school books are also strewn across the bed.
So it looked like she just got up and took off.
The objects left behind in the bedroom raise a new level of concern.
It made it more suspicious because most people won't leave their cell phone.
We were completely mystified. We did not know what could have caused her to leave the apartment without her cell phone because it was attached to her like, you know, it was part of her skin.
Detective Schrock begins to piece together possible scenarios.
It's one of two things. It's either Amber didn't
leave the family with a host of agonizing questions, but none points police towards an answer.
It was important to get going on this because the last time anyone had spoke to her was on the 9th. A couple days had already gone by, so we were already behind on trying to figure out what had happened.
When Detective Schrock returns to the station, he enters Amber into the National Crime Information Center, or NCIC. The system will raise a red flag if Amber or her vehicle appear on police radar for any reason.
At that point, we were kind of in this limbo. Like, what do we do?
We are sitting here in Georgia. She's missing in Michigan. You know, who do we contact? Who do we talk to? Where do we turn for help?
Then, only 3 hours later, the case takes a startling turn.
And then suddenly we get this call that the car turned up in Georgia as an abandoned car in Tunnel Hill.
I remember having to have that repeated to me because I must have heard it wrong. Her car couldn't have been in Tunnel Hill, Georgia.
And here's her car, 600 miles away from Jackson, where she lives. And we're like, now what?
Coming up, police uncover a puzzling new clue.
I saw the video and I just literally could not breathe.
Mother of 4 Amber Gerwick has gone missing from her home in Jackson, Michigan. But just 3 hours after her family filed a missing persons report, Amber's car turned up in the parking lot of a Dollar General store in Georgia, over 600 miles from Jackson.
And everything changed. The search had suddenly moved from Michigan to Georgia.
What's most perplexing is not the SUV's distance from Amber's home in Jackson, but rather its proximity to her parents' home in Calhoun.
It's about 35 miles north of us. It's way off the highway. It's just kind of an out-of-the-way place.
According to Tunnel Hill Police, the SUV was abandoned in the parking lot at least 2 days earlier.
Did she drive the car down here? Did someone force her to drive the car down? Did someone do something to her and then take her car?
One day after Amber is reported missing, the case is turned over to Detective Eric Burnett of the Whitfield County Sheriff's Department in Georgia. Detective Burnett invites the Seegers down to the station to discuss some new developments in the case.
I met with Miss Gerwick's parents the first time at my office, the sheriff's office. Asked them about their daughter, what kind of a person she was, what kind of friends she has. I told them what we'd found in the car.
He said initially there appeared to be no signs of a struggle inside of the vehicle. There was no signs of violence. There was no blood evidence.
However, what police did find in the front seat of Amber's car raises a slew of new questions.
Miss Gerwick's wallet was located in the car. There was no money there. It was just a debit card and her driver's license.
Police also found Amber's keys locked inside the SUV.
That was very strange to me.
If Amber drove the car, why would she leave her most important possessions behind? But then, if Amber were abducted, why would the kidnapper leave her possessions out in the open?
We ran all kind of scenarios of what might have happened to her. But the more we did that, the more confused we got. Is she running from anybody? Has someone done something to her? Those are questions that we needed to have answers for pretty quick.
There had to be something wrong for her to lock her billfold and her keys in. And the only thought that goes through my mind was she did that deliberately so somebody would know that she had been there, like leaving the breadcrumb trail.
Then, Detective Burnett reveals the most valuable piece of evidence found in the SUV, a small paper receipt. The receipt lists a number of purchases made at the Dollar General store. But since the receipt was locked inside Amber's SUV, whoever was driving the car must have been a customer at the store. And chances are, this person was caught on one of the Dollar General's many surveillance cameras.
Based on the receipt, we knew the time and a date of where to look. We wanted to see exactly who was in that store. We went to the Dollar General store and met with the manager at the store to watch the video.
Detective Burnett cues the footage up to Sunday, April 10th at 8:04 a.m., the time stamped on the receipt. What it reveals will turn the investigation on its head.
This is a surveillance video. It showed a female in there buying several items and leaving the store. She was a white female. She had a University of Kentucky blue sweatshirt on, blue jeans and tennis shoes.
I saw the video and I just literally could not breathe. Looked at the monitor and there's my daughter.
It was her. I mean, there was no doubt in my mind it was her, and it stopped me dead in my tracks.
You see her come in. She walks around. She picks up her items. She stops at the checkout. Guy comes to check her out. She kind of says hello to him. She picks up a chapstick or something right there by the cash register, pays for her stuff.
And she turned to the left and she just disappeared.
Amber's appearance on video ends here. There are no surveillance cameras in the Dollar General parking lot.
That's it. That's all we have. We have no way to know what happened when she left. Never did I feel that Amber had got to Georgia willfully. I don't know why, how, but I know it's not of her own accord.
She looked up at the camera. She looks right at the surveillance camera and we're like, okay, were we supposed to notice that? Was she trying to tell us something?
All theories aside, the Seegers must accept a painful reality. Over 3 days have passed since Amber was last seen alive.
It's like the big abyss of the unknown right before you.
My baby girl has been there, and I feel stronger now than ever before that she's in harm's way, and I can't help her.
Coming up, as the search effort expands, police turn their attention to a murky swamp in Tunnel Hill.
Dad and I both felt that this was going to end badly.
Amber Gerwig has not been heard from for 4 days. Georgia police spotted her on surveillance footage from a convenience store in the small town of Tunnel Hill, Georgia, over 600 miles from her home in Michigan. Oddly, it's just under 30 miles from her parents' house. But Amber has not been seen since, and her parents are beginning to fear the worst.
The problem is that, yeah, you saw her live there, but you don't know what's happened in the meantime. Okay, she made it to Georgia, but she only made it as far as Tunnel Hill. How come she's not here?
No new leads have surfaced in the last 24 hours, and Amber's father, Dale, is growing restless.
Very much a helpless feeling. I don't know what to do. I haven't slept 2 nights before. Emotionally, I'm just torn up.
Dale decides to play a more active role in the investigation.
I finally had enough. I had to go looking for Amber.
He drives to the site of Amber's last known whereabouts, the Dollar General store.
I had to walk up and down the aisles. I know that I'm not going to find her there, but I know that that's where she was. And I walked up and down these same aisles. I'm in the aisle where they have the lotions and the shampoos and the stuff, and I walk up and down that. And while I'm walking, I'm thinking, Amber, what's happened to you?
There are no new clues to be found inside. But outside, the store's property borders an expanse of densely wooded swampland.
So I walked out and back, and I walked a grid pattern by myself, looking for my daughter in the tall grass. I'm not going to deviate from a straight line for nothing. So I'm walking through the brambles, I'm walking through the berry bushes, I'm walking through everything.
Dale is driven by instinct, but terrified of what he might find.
I climbed down in the drainage culvert, walked that from one end to the other, and walked out there through the mud as much as I could to find her.
After trudging through acres of jagged bramble and putrid swamp, Dale can go no further.
I just sat there and looked down. I was all scratched up, my legs were all muddy and everything. I remember buying some bottled water and washing my legs and stuff off. And I remember the dread of going home because I had not been successful.
The Sheriff's Department enlists the help of the Georgia Bureau of Investigation, a state-run criminal justice organization.
Well, the GBI, they have more resources than we do. They bring us more manpower for searches.
Heading up the case is Special Agent Daniel Sims.
Time is of a critical element. The first couple of days is very important in the collection of facts and evidence, mainly because those things are perishable. They can go away. As far as investigative work, Amber was at the top of the list.
The first official step for the Bureau is to mount an extensive search throughout Tunnel Hill.
We organized a search with about 30 emergency personnel. The area around the Dollar General store is extremely rural. It's hilly, if not mountainous. We wanted to make sure that she wasn't in the woods. Other officers searched the railroad tracks that transversed that strip mall that the Dollar General is part of. And we also had some individuals search the swampy area behind the Dollar General itself. And we did neighborhood canvas searches, went door to door.
This may be an awful thing to admit, but when they said that they were going to go back up there and search, I actually prayed that they wouldn't find Amber, because that would mean a body, not my daughter.
You go into it with the hopes and aspirations that you'll find her alive. But at the same time, having traveled down these investigative roads before, you keep your eyes open for anything that's on the ground or motionless, or, of course, the discovery of the human body.
But after an exhaustive search, the team comes up empty. Though Agent Sims is undeterred, the failure to uncover new evidence is a blow to morale.
January, and he tried to go to this party and he got lost and got stuck in the snow. We didn't know where he was for 2 years. He died of hypothermia. It was horrible for our family.
How could we as a family endure a long-term disappearance again? Would we be able to get through something like that?
Coming up, Amber's father suddenly finds himself at the center of the investigation.
And I remember breaking down. I found it unconscionable, but somebody could make that accusation against me.
Missing Michigan resident Amber Gerwit was last seen alive on April 10th, 2011, in a small-town Georgia convenience store. But in the days and weeks following, in spite of a concentrated search effort led by state and local police, no new leads have materialized.
When you know that you have a missing person and their family's grieving, it's hard not to think about that even when you're off duty. And I found myself thinking a lot about Amber and where she might be.
Distraught by the lack of answers, Amber's parents devote every spare moment to searching for their daughter.
Obviously, the detectives and the police and sheriffs and Agent Sims were all doing their part, but we needed to be doing something as well.
Amber's brother, Sean, designs a missing persons poster for his parents to distribute around town.
It had 3 pictures of Amber on it. Probably the most important picture, believe it or not, was a large angel tattoo on her shoulder. I was never happy that Amber got tattooed until we had this huge angel that we could put out there and say, here's an identifying mark that you can use to find her.
When she was younger, she was enamored with angels. And we're talking from an early age. We're talking 3 years old.
I had an angel pin. And when I saw the pin, I'd forgotten I had it. I pulled it out and I put it on. It served to help me. You know, I wore it every single day.
The Seegers launch a broad campaign to get the word out.
That poster was distributed in literally thousands of those things. We're all over the southeast United States.
We had put her listing on Facebook. We would post it and we would ask our friends to repost it, and Amber's friends were posting it and reposting it.
Dale and Jackie are desperate for their efforts to yield some new leads.
That was my full-time job, was finding Amber.
Meanwhile, Agent Sims is working every angle. including some of the darkest places on the criminal landscape.
There is a certain segment of our society that are predators, and they do target people. We did focus on local sex offender databases, and we actually interviewed some people that were on that list.
Then, on April 27th, disaster strikes the South.
Northeast Alabama and northwest Georgia and southeastern Tennessee got hammered with a series of F4 tornadoes. We had to divert ourselves from the investigation to focus on rescue efforts. It was a pretty trying time for everybody in the northwest Georgia region.
Suddenly, at the Georgia Bureau of Investigation, Amber's case is no longer.
We were running out of ideas.
On May 4th at 1:30 p.m., Special Agent Sims calls the Seegers down to the station. He says he has an important matter to discuss with them.
He met us at the Sheriff's Department here in Gordon County, and he said that he needed to question us separately.
I told her that we had investigated the case thoroughly, that we had absolutely no evidence to suggest that her daughter had become the victim of foul play. We had no evidence that she was alive.
He said, we have no more leads. We don't know where to look anymore.
It wasn't that we were stopping the investigation. It was just at the stage where we knew that it would be easy to perceive that the investigation was grinding to a halt.
That was extremely upsetting.
For Jackie, what Agent Sims told her is almost impossible to accept. But when Agent Sims sits down with Dale, the news only gets worse.
During that meeting with him, he said something to me. Somebody had made the accusation that I knew where Amber was, and I was helping her to stay hidden.
Information had come our way that Dale would do this, and it was a bridge that I felt like I had to cross with him.
Dale feels blindsided by the accusation.
I remember breaking down. I found it unconscionable, but somebody could make that accusation against me.
One of the most unpleasant parts of my job is when I've got to sit down with somebody who is truly grieving and then challenge them as to whether they have committed a crime. I didn't feel like that the Seegers had engaged in this type of activity, but I just had to cross that bridge.
Agent Sims is convinced of Dale's innocence, but it comes as little relief.
After we got done with that discussion, he told me there was just nothing more they could do. I remember walking out of that interview room and feeling like I was carrying a 10-ton weight.
The Seegers' lives have taken on a hollow sadness they are convinced they will have to live with forever. But they soon would be proven dead wrong. Later that day, Agent Sims gets an unexpected call.
A few hours after I had this meeting with the Seegers, I received a call from the Whitfield County Sheriff's Office. One of the secretaries in the investigative division said, "You need to contact the Joliet, Illinois Police Department. There's a detective there that wants to speak to you." No matter how many cases you've done, no matter how many investigations that you have undertaken, every now and then somebody will throw a curveball at you from left field.
Only 2 hours after returning home, the Seegers' phone rings.
It was Special Agent Sims. I recognized the phone number and I said, "Yes, Special Agent." He says they've located a woman in Joliet, Illinois, who matches Amber's description, that has amnesia.
Their department had found a young female wandering in a city park and had flagged down the police. She was suffering from memory loss, did not know who she was, and that they had been dealing with a Jane Doe.
Then he says something Amber's father will never forget.
This woman had a tattoo of an angel on her back.
Coming up, a dramatic break in the case is not exactly what it seems.
I'm looking into a face that isn't right. I don't know how to explain it. She just didn't look right.
It's been 3.5 weeks since missing mother Amber Gerwick was last seen in Tunnel Hill, Georgia. Her family had all but given up hope of finding her when they received some astonishing news. An unidentified woman suffering from memory loss was found in Joliet, Illinois, nearly 600 miles north of Tunnel Hill. Joliet police think it's Amber.
They've located a woman that matched her description identically, that had an angel tattoo on her right shoulder.
In Joliet, the story of the woman who lost her memory had caught the attention of the local media, who broadcast a photo of the mysterious woman. The photo was seen by someone familiar with the missing person flyer posted on Facebook.
The Facebook communication was that this is the person you're looking for. She's Amber Gerwick.
Sims sends the Seegers a photo of the woman taken at Silver Cross Hospital in Joliet.
And there was Amber in a hospital bed, staring at us. I just said, it's her. It's her. And Dale's like, it's her. She's there. She's alive. We were jumping. We were screaming. We were crying.
My happiness wasn't even close to their happiness. Over the phone, you could hear that weight being lifted, you know, and all of a sudden this flood of hope coming into their heart that, you know, their daughter's alive.
But Dale notices something strange in the photograph.
I'm looking at Amber's picture, and I know it's Amber, but I'm looking into a face that isn't right. She just didn't look right.
Her eyes were empty, and I didn't see Amber's personality shining back at me.
Despite their misgivings about the photo, the Seegers are eager to get to Joliet. They pack their bags and begin the 600-mile drive that night. The next morning, Dale and Jackie head straight to the hospital.
The nurses gave us an update on Amber's condition and what was going on. She was unharmed. She was fine. The only thing that was wrong was her memory.
Amber is suffering from one of the most complex and puzzling conditions in medicine, transient global amnesia.
She didn't remember being married. She didn't remember having children. She just forgotten her life.
Dr. Lucy at Silver Cross put it this way: 99.99% of the doctors in this country will go through their entire career practicing medicine and will never see this type of amnesia, ever.
That afternoon, the Seegers finally get the chance to see their daughter face to face.
We saw Amber, and she was holding a little stuffed dog they had given her in the ER. And what I remember is my daughter taking one look at us, and she grabbed that doll and she hung it real close, and she started crying and said, "I don't know you. I don't remember you." And she just cried. I mean, she was just sobbing. And Jackie and I reassured her that was fine, that was no problem.
We had talked in the car and prepared ourselves for the possibility that she might not know us.
But for Amber, the reunion is a frightening realization of just how much she had lost.
They terrified me because I didn't know them. It was devastating not knowing who your parents are. worse than not knowing who you are. These are the people who raised me. I remembered them the way they were when I was little, but I didn't know who they were at that moment.
Amber can only remember her life up to age 12. Almost all memories from her adult life have vanished.
I'd look in the mirror and the face that was looking back at me was not the face that I would expect. You know, I'd expect to look in the mirror and see that kid that I was, and it was an adult looking back at me.
The Seegers spend the next few days slowly walking Amber through the last 2 decades of her life.
They were explaining to me that I'd been missing and how long I'd been gone and how she had this angel pin. And I loved angels. I gave her the pin.
Particularly, what happened the night she disappeared? Fortunately, Amber can recall her last hours of lucidity.
I remember studying, sitting at my computer, trying to get schoolwork done.
In the early evening, Amber took a break from studying and headed to a nearby convenience store.
I remember going down to the car and getting there and realizing I'd left my phone upstairs. All I had grabbed was my keys and my wallet. I didn't see any reason to go back upstairs to grab my phone when I was only going to be gone for a few minutes. I went to the convenience store down the road. I picked up a couple of small things there, and then that's it. It just stops. It's like there's nothing else after that until I remember the hospital.
Doctors assume Amber spent the next 3.5 weeks in what is known as a dissociative fugue state.
Dr. Lucy told us that the person that is in the fugue state can still operate. They can take care of themselves. They just don't know what's going on. They don't remember it.
But no one knows what triggered the episode.
We know that a traumatic event can cause global amnesia. That's what we believe happened.
Amber numerous times has been very specific in a fear that a man walks up behind her, puts his left hand on her right shoulder and spins her around. This is something new.
I believe that somebody grabbed her from behind and either frightened her terribly or did something to her and she ran.
Amber is still haunted by the dark gaps in her memory. She still has no idea where she was, where she ate, or where she slept at night during her fugue state.
I refuse to think about what happened during those 3.5 weeks when I was missing. What caused me to walk away? What caused me to just disappear like that? What happened to me while I was gone? I could drive myself crazy thinking about those things. I've had to stop thinking about it and just accept that those 3.5 weeks are gone and that I'll never get them back, even if I get the rest of my life back.
Today, Amber is still working to recover the memories she lost, but she has a positive outlook towards the future.
There's so much she doesn't know, so much she doesn't remember, and she wants to know it all. She wants to learn it all.
She's remembering a little bit more each day.
The Amber that you see today is the Amber that she's always been. There's really no change in her personality. Her sense of humor is the same.
The best thing that has come out of having amnesia, I've had this opportunity to examine my life and the decisions that I made from an almost a third-person perspective. How many people get a chance to re-examine their life like that?
Through her ordeal, Amber has learned a valuable lesson.
The one thing in the world that mattered the most to me is that people don't lose hope. You have to keep hoping that if somebody that you love is missing, that they're out there. It means the world to me to remember